Alright, this is going to be a deck profile of 2005 Goat Control. Uh, what I like about this deck is pretty much regardless of what you do, your opponent can have a really good response to it. So it creates a lot of skill-based play. Um, I'm one to advocate that there's no format where the best player will always win, though. You will get beat sometimes regardless of how, like, good you are. An opponent that's just not as good as you can still beat you, but not often. It is a highly skilled format, so the better player will usually win. Um, yeah. So let's go. First card, BLS, because it's really broken and you play tons of lights and darks, so it's super good. Double Air Knight. A lot of people played one Air Knight, one Jinzo, but Jinzo's just, it doesn't have this, if Jinzo doesn't stay on the board, it doesn't really do a whole lot, and there's only 6 traps, there's not a whole lot you need to negate, and I would rather get pluses off of an Air Knight than just have a 24 beat stick on the board, even though 24 was ridiculously big in this format. Double Magician of Faith, just to reuse all your really broken spells. You don't need to play anything at 3 in this format just because you'll see the cards anyways, because the games are long enough and there's not enough, like, you don't get OTK'd, so you'll be able to see these cards. And if you can't, then you just got sacked. But yeah. You can also play out of stuff even if you don't open, like, good cards. Even if you only open the cards that are, like, not completely broken, you can still pull out a win a lot of the time. DD Warrior Lady, because it's just a really solid light and it banishes Sangan, and it's an out to a lot of things like BLS and yeah, stuff like that. For spirits, I play Azure Priest and Tsukiyomi. A lot of people like to play 2 Tsukiyomi. I think this is a really bad idea just because if you ever open double, the second one's always going to be dead, and they're both going to be dead assuming you don't summon it that turn, so I don't really like it in that way. And then Azure Priest is just, it's a really big light, and that's important because the light count's kind of low, so yeah. And it kills goats, obviously. Spies. I play this engine because it really helps if your opponent has a lot of advantage on you. You can sit on this and just build up a hand to try and win with. So, like, let's say your opponent opens a lot of the Trinity, or the entire Trinity. You can just sit on a Spy or an Exarion or something, and this really helps you to be able to not just lose when that happens. Breaker, because it's huge, and it pops spells, and it's one of your only methods of spell and trap destruction. Spirit Reaper. It is really good, but it's not as busted as it was in other formats just because there's a lot of stuff that has piercing in this format. And, I don't know, it's a solid card though, it's necessary. Exarion Universe, just because, like, it's 19, and it has piercing. Well, it's 19 defense, and then it's 18 attack, and it can drop 400 to pierce, but, like, what's good about that is piercing's really good in this format because life matters, and getting through a goat for 14 is it's just really good. So, like, you can lose to an early Exarion if you have, like, nothing. But he's also really good just to set on his own because it doesn't really matter if he gets Nobleman, and he doesn't get, your opponent can't pierce him with Air Knight to draw a card, so it's good. Play Sangin because it's Sangin, you play Tribe because it's Tribe, and you play Sinister because it's Sinister. Those cards are all pretty self-explanatory just because they're all really, really, really broken. Shouldn't really need an explanation. Metamorphosis to get you your Thousand Eyes and all your Lolzy cards. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah. Mainly you'll go for Thousand Eyes, sometimes you'll go for Dark Vaulter, and sometimes you'll go for Cyber Twin. Those are the main 3 you go for, but yeah, I'll show you the whole extra deck later. 2 Scapegoats. Yeah, a lot of people like 3 Scapegoats with 3 metas, but I don't because I don't feel like Thousand Eyes is that good in this format. Like, it's a really strong card and stuff, but if you're winning and you Thousand Eyes them to, like, take a face down, A lot of times players will do this and then they'll realize they don't have anything to get rid of that face down with Thousand Eyes, and they'll sort of lock themselves into giving their opponents more advantage than they want to, and they'll lose because of it. But also the deck has a lot of outs to Thousand Eyes, and you can sort of just get rid of it whenever you want to. It's good enough to warrant playing just the two though. But yeah, so Double Book of Moon. You play this because it's Book of Moon and it's at 2 and it's really busted. It combos well with Nobleman, however, that's not really necessary a lot of the time because I don't know, it's just a 2-for-1, which is kind of bad. Advantage of this format's huge, and what you'll usually do with it is you'll use it to stop Thousand Eyes from resolving, or you'll use it to like stop your opponent from resolving an Air Knight, and then you'll just be able to beat over it next turn. But it's not really used for a whole bunch of stuff. But you can it's just a really utility card that you can do whatever you want with. Like you can book your Magician of Faith when your opponent declares an attack on it. Like especially with Exarian, because he activates on attack declaration. I think if he activates during subsequent point of damage, then I'm talking out of my ass. But basically, you would be able to book if he activates on attack declaration, then you would be able to book your guy on attack declaration, and they wouldn't be able to pierce you basically because they wouldn't have called piercing attacking an attack position monster. Double Nobleman because there's a lot of really good settables. So he just hits all those, and then sometimes you just get to play without Magician of Faiths and stuff like that. So it makes the format interesting. You play the Trinity because it's the Trinity, and every single one of these cards is really busted. Graceful Trinity is really only super good if you have Sinister or if you need a dig. You can discard Air Knights with it whenever you have pre-mats and stuff like that, but a lot of the time you're only going to use it when you have Sinister. A lot of players just think that the card's all really good all the time, but what you can't do with it is you can't just win if this is your only card. You have to have other stuff to do with it. But what you can do is you can dig into your deck and you can choose a card to play if you're just top decking. So when people say, "Oh, you resolved Graceful," yeah, that doesn't mean that you won just because you resolved Graceful. You play for removal. You play Vortex, Storm, and MST. The only spell trap removal this far is actually, or that you play in this deck is Heavy MST Breaker. So it's good to know for the mirror. And then just other good spells: Premat, Snatch Steal, Enemy Controller. Yeah, they're just solid spells. Nothing really to explain there. This is really good just because it's a pretty utility card because it does multiple things. You can tribute your goats to take your opponent's stuff to stop it from resolving and stuff like that. Or not stop it from resolving, but to just prevent stuff from happening. Double Saku. Just because there's not a whole lot of spell trap removal in the format, and this card's really good, and you're probably going to resolve it. And if you resolve it for an Air Knight, then that's an auto +1 when they were thinking they were going to get a +1, so that's why it's good. Mirror Force, just because it's Mirror Force. Charge Tribute, Call the Haunted, and Ring of Destruction. So yeah, that's the main deck. Those traps are pretty self-explanatory just because they're all really good. But yeah, basically, I have 2 copies of this deck, and a lot of times I'll just play it for fun with friends, but it's the best deck ever. Especially when you just know the counts of everything. It becomes a really skill-based just little game that you play. So I like that about it. For the Fusion deck, which was unlimited at the time, you played Thousand Eyes. You had to actually play both of these guys. Because this guy was dark, and this guy has more attack. So, yeah, that's pretty much the explanation behind that. This is if you need to meta a warrior lady or a priest, a Azura priest in order to drop a BLS. This guy's really good because he gets normal spells. This guy's also really good because he gets pokes in. If you're trying to... Yeah, he just gets pokes at it and he doesn't die and stuff like that. This guy's okay. These cards never get made just because I don't play Jinzo. And then these cards also never get made because I don't play any level 7s, but I don't suggest you play level 7s because if your opponent like snatches or econs your thing and then metas it to make one of these guys, you're pretty much fucked. So yeah, sorry for the language. And then for 8s you played Gatling Dragon and this really stupid card right here. So Gatling Dragon's really bad because it's a mandatory destruction for every heads you land. So basically, if your opponent has 2 monsters and you land 3 heads, you have to destroy one of your monsters too. So I don't really like him that much, especially when I could just play this guy, Cyber Twin, because it's fucking broken as shit. Sorry for the language. 56 is really a lot, and if you have like BLS meta Premi, then you pretty much win. And yeah, that's the deck. So basically, I'm saying build 2 copies of this and play with your friends because it's like the best Yu-Gi-Oh ever. Yeah, go for that. Alright, have fun, guys. Peace.